You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
We are here. It's Friday. Rick is back from Mexico, but he didn't want to talk to you. That's just how it goes.
Classic Rick.
Mm-hmm. He's got a tan, and that means he's better than you. Liam, you okay?
No.
You getting sick, or do you have a little something in your throat?
I got sick, and now I'm out of it.
I'm sick and tired of the Oilers losing.
Hey.
Thank you.
Let's not talk about that, though.
You want to talk about other stuff?
Remember when they beat the Senators?
That was fun.
Pepperidge Farm. Remembers.
Anyone would think that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
That road trip, because I guess we haven't done a show since that win in Ottawa. That road trip was so annoying.
Went exactly to plan.
Yeah.
Just
1-1-1.
It's actually not a terrible road trip, though.
It's not, but it's just annoying given that two of the teams should have been lock wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
And arguably the third game also should have been a win, but they fumble fucked it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think this whole week now, as we turn the page a little bit, like, oh, they don't seem that interested. I think we should put the same level of effort into podcasting.
I have been. That's why I'm locked in now.
No problem.
I've been so
Take it away,
casual.
boys.
I've been called out for being on my phone on the podcast by friends. It's tough. It's tough in these streets. So I'm locked in. Let's go.
Can't hide with the video version out now.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. I check stats.
I don't even know how to put in like that minimal of effort on a podcast.
I'll tell you what, I can do it by just pushing the mic away.
Like, yeah, like it's essentially what all you can do is just not say anything.
Yeah. Or just do like a bunch of cliches. Like we say, we're like, man, fuck, the Oilers gotta get pucks in deep way better. Like if they're not, if they're not
goaltending has to be better, defense has to be better, offense has to be better.
All
those are my
factual
keys.
statements.
Yeah.
Facts and stats.
All factual statements.
You just kind of play around the perimeter of some things, but never really dive into an issue.
It's true.
Kind of like the Oilers on the power play. Yeah.
Just in general.
And 5-on-5.
Dance around the perimeter
and shorthanded. But we got an empty net goal last night.
That was big. Back to back. Oh no, they got one against Toronto.
The PK has also been perfect over 6 games now.
13-0. Or maybe
13 in a row.
Quiet.
Yep.
14-0. 14-14.
Quieting the haters.
Something like that.
Listen, if I'm looking for silver linings, that's my one.
It actually is impressive.
100%.
Yeah.
Considering how bad they were, you just see them still at whatever it's at right now, 67, 68% in that window. Like, how bad were you to go on a 13-0 run and still be that mediocre?
Yeah, I think they're just past 70% now.
Wow. You guys are going to have a new belt.
69.2.
Yes.
Third last.
Very nice.
Third last. Impressive.
Hey, out of the basement.
If they got it up 10%, they would still be in the bottom half of the league.
Work to do. Needless to say, room to improve. But we do have plenty to discuss, even though it is not particularly pleasing to do so. And as we do every podcast, we start off with a shout out to our friends at Odd Company Brewing, our partners on the brand new Nation Beer called the Nation Beer Everyday Lager. It is delicious. It is perfect for your next big game, your next dose of sadness after a loss.
Womp womp.
Or just because it's Friday and you feel a little frisky.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Liam a 4-pack of Nation Beer. It is now expanded to 8 because I've been late in paying that bet off.
What do you think will happen first? I get my beers or the Lions beat the Vikings again?
When do they play the Vikings?
The last January 5th.
Oh, I'll definitely beat that. I feel confident about that.
It's a home game too.
It is a home game. They played the Vikings on October 20th.
Yes. So I am a month late.
Exactly.
See, that's why you've doubled already. You've gone from a 4-pack to an 8-pack. That's pretty good for you.
That is pretty good.
That's pretty good for you. You know? Anyway, go Vikings. Skull. Find Nation Beer at Odd Company Brewing. They got 2 locations here in the city, or go to Liquor Connect. We're also working on some graphics just to make this a little bit easier for you. You'll see those on social media here soon. We're just going to label the stores where it's at. We'll just make it easy for you. But we're working on those. We got a couple of just some adjustments to make. Watch out for our socials soon. Tyler Ramchak, Delicious Debate. Today is
November 22nd. Oh, you're asking me what the Delicious Debate today is, not what is today.
What is the date? Is the
November
Delicious
22nd.
Debate. Who wants to start?
We're mailing this in, right?
It's the 22nd. Oh, shit.
I want to talk goaltending.
Debate over.
That's kind of what's dominating the internet right now in the Oilers online sphere. So scale of 1 to 10, 10 being sound every alarm and make a trade. One being like, hey, chill. Remember where we were last year. How concerned are you about the goaltending?
It's hard not to be concerned about it. And I think that's fair for people to do. But I am, what did I say on the show? I think I'm a 6. Because I think it needs to be over a 5 because it is not shown much consistency this season. I think it's shown better in parts, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. And I believe it can get better. And luckily, there's 2 parts to goaltending because I know this question, a lot of people are just questioning Stuart Skinner, but like Calvin Pickett's been pretty reliable. It's been really good. So that's why I'm at 6.
Yeah.
And what do you got?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I agree with you, Liam. It has to be over a 5 because Skinner has just been not good. And the more I watch him, the more I'm concerned about lateral movement, the more I'm concerned about confidence. But I think that I don't want to go too much further than the 5, 6, maybe 6.5, because I do think that the answer still lies with the defense in front of him. And I think that you saw it last night on a couple of the goals where Skinner is just at a loss as to what more he could do with the defensive play in front of him. So yeah, I would say 6.5 out of 10 is my concern.
It's a hard question to answer because last night I wrote about, I guess I went up this morning. I wrote about Stuart Skinner again for the site. And to this point in the season, Calvin Pickard has 5 nights above a 900 save percentage in his 7 starts, while Stuart Skinner has 6 games above 900 in 14 starts. So am I concerned? Yeah. To put a number on it, probably around 6. Here's the thing. When Stuart Skinner is at his best, he can be a top 10 goaltender.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it. We've seen him go on a run last year. And for, I'm going to say 2 months of that season last year, he was one of the best goalies in the league. So it's in there. But right now, he's clearly battling some confidence or something because that is not the guy that is out there on a nightly basis. He went from having a 931 against Ottawa, and sure, you can say it's Ottawa.
He made some saves, though.
He made some hell of some saves. And they've also got some really strong scoring options on that team.
Yeah.
And the one that went in at the end, I thought was a high stick too. But again, those things always balance themselves out because posts and reviews go the other way too. So
I agree. So
there's a crane going up outside.
The problem is there really?
Yeah, no, over here. Over this window.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Problem is he goes from a 931, which would have been higher because I agree that stick was about 14 feet in the air, at least in my opinion, to an 808 last night. So the highs are high and the lows are just incredibly low, and we're not getting much in the middle. And that's what's concerning me. I still believe in Stuart Skinner. I still believe that the Oilers can win with Stuart Skinner. They went to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals with him between the pipes. But right now, he is not playing anywhere close to his level that he has shown to be capable of doing. And so that puts me at about a 6.5.
And last night for me, you look at what happened to Marc-Andre Fleury right at the start of the game. If that had happened to Stuart Skinner at this point, all bets are off. Fleury was able to kind of come back from that. He even was fighting the puck a little bit after it. But then, the broadcast mentioned, I heard you talk about it on Oilers Nation every day, Tyler, that he even had a little bit of a flair about it afterwards and did a little fist pump joking about how he made the save. It's just, it's a different mindset right now for Skinner.
I think that a lot of this, and he's not the only one that's battling confidence right now. You can tell. It's not like Stuart Skinner or Nugent-Hopkins or Zach Hyman or Jeff Skinner forgot how to play hockey. Sometimes they're just gripping the stick, or in Stu's case, he's not seeing the puck or he's not in his positional where he needs to be. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I'm not a goalie. I'm not pretending to be an expert, but you just see a guy who's inconsistent and he's probably in his own head way more than he should be.
I agree with that. I also think there are people who are obviously saying the trade stuff. John Gibson stinks. He's not, if you're that's pointless. You can't also afford a $6 million goal. And people are well, get him double retained. And it's oh yeah, I'm sure another team's itching to sign up to pay John Gibson to not play for them for the next 3 years. So the Gibson stuff is dumb. The Blackwood stuff I get because he's young and cheap. But the other thing too is Skinner is struggling. Calvin Pickard has a 923 save percentage at 5v5. If you look at the goalies in the league, there's 51 goalies in the league who've played at least 30 or 300 5-on-5 minutes this year. He's 18th out of 51. He's well into the top half of this thing. And like, yes, Stuart Skinner has not been good this year. Stuart Skinner was also not good last year for the first 2 months of the season and still found a way to finish the year with what, a 905. He's a career 906 goaltender. Like,
which is above average, by the way.
It is above average. League average save percentage has dipped below 900 this season. So if you are 900 or better, you are in the top half of the NHL. I just think my answer to the 1 to 10 question, I think is a 4, just because, again, right now, not good. That's why I'm not saying like a 1 or a 2. Like, yeah, Stuart Skinner needs to be better. And when you sit and look at a guy like Tristan Jarry has totally forgotten how to stop pucks.
Yeah.
Goalies are voodoo, man. Look at Steve Mason. That guy won the Calder, and it was like, this is going to be
like 10 shutouts or something.
Right? It was like, this guy's going to be Canada's next great goalie. Columbus has a franchise cornerstone. And then he was like basically never a starting goalie again in the NHL. Like, goalies can be weird. Goalies can fall off a cliff at a moment's notice.
My favorite one is Jim Carey.
Ooh.
He won the Vezina and then he was never seen again.
So that's where my concern comes in, is like, okay, the longer this goes on, because we're now on into the second month of Stuart Skinner struggling, it's like, okay, what if he is just another one of those goalies or voodoo victims, right? Where he just never finds it. I just don't believe that to be true. I think the Oilers have a good goalie here. I think we forget how young Stuart Skinner is. I think we forget the situation he was thrust into. I think we forget the fact he's one of the few goalies in the league to start north of 50 games in back-to-back seasons. That doesn't happen all that often, right? That's like legit workhorse stuff. So for him to struggle for a month, 2 months to start the year, I'm saying talk to me when the calendar flips to 2025. Talk to me at Christmas. And if he still stinks and it's, at that point, maybe it's 7 out of his 20 starts by that point are below 900, then yeah, I'll sit here and be like, all right, hit the trade market. Let's go.
Well, how about this then? Do you give Cal Pickard a run?
Yes,
Yeah.
I start him tomorrow. I don't even think twice.
I do too.
I think too, they have this 5-day break. That's going to be good. Just to get some practice time in and just kind of settle down. Guys come back from injuries. Maybe you can figure out a couple of things. And then you have a busy enough December that you can rotate them a little bit more, and it probably won't put either of them out of a rhythm, which I think is good. I also don't think Pickett needs to go in a rhythm. I think, quite frankly, you could play him once a month and he would be fine.
He seems that way.
It just seems to be good to go whenever you need him. So yeah, that's why I'm not worried. Like, I'm not happy about it by any means, but I don't look at last night's game either, because that's where this whole conversation comes from, and think like, damn, how could Stuart Skinner do that to us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
To Dan's point, though, there was some goals that were just like blatantly, that was mistakes in front of him that ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to stick with goaltending, sometimes you need him to cover up those mistakes from time to
100%.
time. Nobody's disputing that. But like at the larger issue, some of the effort on the goals against last night, there was one where the Oilers had a perfect chance to break it out of their zone. They fucked it. Forwards were way out of the zone. They flew early. Wild just turned around, back of the net, boom, bang. And then people are like, Stu, come on. Like, well, listen.
Yeah, I know. And
It would have been nice if he stopped it, sure. But like, I would have preferred they broke it out in the first place.
I do think the one you're talking about was, I think, the third one, and probably the most savable one of all of them. Was when Stetcher was trying to make the breakout, right? But either way, like, look what happened. Stetcher couldn't do it. All the forwards are at the blue line.
Mhm.
That puck also comes back to Josh Brown, who tries to tip it out, goes straight to Marcus Johansson's stick, and he scores immediately. It's like, sometimes other teams can just capitalize on the mistakes in front.
And that was a glaring mistake.
The thing that bugged me the most about yesterday is you have 2 goals disallowed. The first 4 goals, including the 2 that were disallowed, Bouchard and Ekholm are on the ice for all 4 of them. And I think you can look at all 4 of them and think, oh, the same mistake is happening on all of them. No pressure on the other team in front of the net. It was so glaring. It was so obvious. And it drives me nuts. And then we look at Skinner and be like, well, he stopped the first one. It's like, then someone come and clean up the garbage and help this guy out a little bit. You know he's struggling. And then it's just all falls apart from that.
The Oilers, when they struggle, they do not play any form of consistent hockey or simple hockey, to break that down even further. They're flying the zone early. They're looking for breakout passes that are at the opposing blue line. Like, that is not what made them successful against Ottawa on Tuesday. Sure, you can shit on Ottawa all you want, and it's kind of fun because they've been mediocre forever, but they just played better.
Yeah.
They beat a team they should beat by playing their game, as opposed to just really looking disorganized and disinterested again.
And even too, like last night, that first goal that went in, you should take that opportunity and run with it. You got gifted a goal, the easiest goal you'll probably ever score.
Yeah.
And they did well to start the game, don't get me wrong, but Minnesota did score shortly after, granted disallowed on offside, but they did score. And then like, it wasn't too long after before the game was just gone.
I was hoping that, and Tyler, I know you were at the game last night, so I'm curious to ask you about it, but like that mistake, the Oilers never get a bounce like that on the Draisaitl goal that beat Fleury 27 seconds. They don't get those. I've been in the building for the opposite side. Like the last time that comes to mind was in the playoffs when Rasmus Andersson scored from the opposing end of the night. I watched that come straight towards me and go in the net. I was sitting behind the net.
That was like me yesterday. I had a perfect line on it and I saw the puck like it was flat for like 15 feet and then just boop, 7 inches in the air. And it was like, oh my God.
I just wished the Oilers would have, in that moment, fired pucks from everywhere because Fleury would have been rattled.
So they ended up having 6 shots in the first 6 minutes and then ended the period with 7 shots.
That's not good enough.
Yeah. I think that great teams can overcome good goaltending, and you're getting subpar goaltending. This team just doesn't have that accelerator pad yet this season to really feel like, they're not out of this just because they're down 2 goals. Last night, they pulled a goalie with 3 minutes left to go. Did anybody think we were coming back in that game?
I was just hoping my bet would hit.
I laughed. I didn't even know they pulled the goalie.
I needed a point from McDavid.
That's
all I was hoping for. Like nothing else. I agree, Dan. Like there was no hope.
Yeah.
Like we all knew what was going to happen. I'm surprised they got one.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah,
well, and I tweeted it last night, like, goal didn't matter. Who cares? Hopefully Jeff Skinner gets a little bit of confidence because he finally got something to go.
Hopefully. Believe it or not, that guy has 4 goals on the year.
So does Corey Perry.
Which is like more than Hyman, Nuge, Podkolzin, and Davidson.
Before we move off the goalie talk, can we do another fun thing to track for us for the next bit?
Is it going to be
better
fun?
be fun.
So Stuart Skinner has an 876 right now. On this day last year, he had an 865.
Hey,
I'm going to say last year
progress.
the Oilers had 5 wins.
Yeah.
Progress.
Hold
So
up.
Stuart Skinner did not get back to 900 until January 9th last season. So what was the catalyst? On December 22nd, he allowed 3 goals against the New York Rangers. And then in his final 2 starts in December, and then all of January and his first start in February, he did not allow more than 2 goals against in a single game. He went on a huge heater, but he got back there on January 9th with a win over the Hawks. So I want to ask you guys, keeping in mind he is 11 save percentage points better than he was last year, when does Stuart Skinner get back above 900?
What is he at now? Sorry.
876.
No way.
He would have to stop. I think someone tweeted yesterday 92 straight shots.
To get back to
yeah.
900.
I'm going to say mid-January. There's going to be a game mid-January where he does it because the reason I say that is I think that Calvin Pickard's going to get a handful more starts down before the calendar flips.
And they do play 2 back-to-backs in December too. So there's that.
Oh, this is a brutal question.
I go
don't wanna
mid-January.
answer at all. Okay, let me see if I can give you an actual game to look back on. Like you said, December's pretty busy. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games in December. They basically play every Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Saturday, January 4th.
Ooh, Jan 4.
You said mid-December, BM?
He said mid-January. I'm going to say
January, yeah.
I'm going to say Jan 11 against the Hawks because I think he'll get one of those 2 Ducks or Kraken starts.
That's what I think.
Should be good. That Pittsburgh game, he played well against them, shut him out earlier this year. And then if he plays well, he'll get Chicago, and then he'll bounce back against Chicago and have he'll be at 900 by then.
Do you give him the layup in a couple of layups in December of like San Jose and Anaheim?
I would totally flip their roles. Also, sorry, Dan.
That's okay. I am not as optimistic as you guys.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. I know. I used to be the optimistic guy. What happened? I'm going to say it's February 4th.
All right.
St. Louis revenge game.
To answer the other question, yeah, give him some layups.
I would play. Yeah, I would again. So in January,
Sometimes you just got to feel good.
you have Utah, Colorado. I go Stu against Utah, Pickard against Colorado.
Why not?
Revenge game too. Pickard.
Oh, sneaky picks in there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I would again, depending on those results, obviously, but like you have Vegas, Columbus, St. Louis. Maybe I don't go Columbus because there might be some bad juju there. But I'd play Pickard 2 out of those 3. Like I'd treat him as the starter for a bit. I see nothing wrong with that. I think it's a message they should set.
Objectively, he's got better numbers.
Yeah. And I think that's a message they should be sending to other parts of their lineup.
Yep.
If you are not playing well, Derek Ryan, you don't get to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think there's a handful of guys that could use a demotion or like a reshuffling or a reset.
They've got to be much more ruthless. Like
The only guy who gets punished for playing bad is fucking Jeff Skinner.
it's crazy.
Or even Draisaitl early in the year. He got benched early in the year and then yet, I mean, we'll talk about the injuries in a second. But that hasn't continued outside of Jeff Skinner, who apparently fucking sideburns, man. He can't trade him. He can't shave him.
I just hate the double standard. Like you said, like Draisaitl guys saying, like we put out that clip about Bouchard. He should have been not even benched, but like just sit him down in that Toronto game. Goes out for 3 straight shifts after allowing 2. It's like, just believe in your other guys that they're going to be able to get it done as well. Like the Oilers have a lot of good players. And I think sometimes too, what plagues his team is like guys are just put in roles and then maybe they're doing well. And other guys are put in roles where they're playing poorly and there's no change. And I, if I was on a team like that, I would feel pretty dejected about things too.
The accountability has got to be across the board. And sure, some players will get more leash than others. That's just life. However, if you're going to bench Leon Draisaitl in the first couple of weeks of the season, there's no reason anyone else can't get it.
I could be wrong, and I should check this before I open my mouth, but I'm pretty confident in myself.
Stats are facts.
I don't think Leon's taken a penalty since that Philly game.
Ooh.
It's been pretty close. Let me check. But so the Philadelphia game was, oh boy.
You look for that. I'm going to do an ad read,
taken one. He has taken 1 penalty since then, and it was against Carolina. That is the last time Leon Draisaitl took a penalty.
So it's been like 10, 11 straight games.
Exactly a month.
Yep.
Good for him.
Shout out Leon.
Little accountability.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. It is time. I'm not reading this ad copy, Tyler. I refuse to, but we do have a Christmas sweater out.
Ho, hope will never die.
Ho, ho, holiday alert, Oilers Nation citizens. Whoop, whoop. The point here is that we have a Christmas sweater up at nationgear.ca. It is sick. It is the ho, ho, hope will never die, a Christmas sweater. It's fun. We've wanted to do one of these forever. We finally got one for the first time in company history. I'm super, super excited about it. However, you should know there is a limited run on these. If you want to get them, just because of how long it takes to produce them, if you want to get one, you got to do it now. And if you want a little bit of a deal on your order, you can use the promo code BAGMILK10 or
Tyler10.
Either way, you'll get 10% off your order. Just get yourself a nice little Christmas sweater. Holiday parties are coming up here right away. You want to look good, feel good with the ho, ho, hope will never die. Christmas sweater. Merry Christmas.
Grimace.
Happy Chrysler. That is at nationgear.ca. All of a sudden here, boys, the Oilers are a little banged up. Victor Arvidsson has been day to day for a week and now he's on the IR, though that could be a retroactive play, could it not?
Yeah, but again, he was 50-50 to play like a week ago.
He was 50-50 to play against the Predators.
Yeah.
Which is more than a week ago now. And he's on the IR. And while that could be a retroactive play, save a couple of dimes here and there, I don't know what's going on with Victor Arvidsson.
Nobody does.
They just got to stop lying to us. Quite frankly.
Is this an NHL problem?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to, so
is.
my follow-up question is, oh no, actually, you know what? That's an Ask the Idiots question. So don't go too much into the transparency of injuries because I want to get to it, Ask the Idiots. Yeah. But like Victor Arvidsson has a mystery injury, been day to day for over a week, and now he's on the IR and he's probably not going to play tomorrow. Zach Hyman left the game against Ottawa in the second intermission, didn't come back. We don't even know what's going on with him.
We also went and acquired Kasperi Kapanen.
Oh, I love a good waiver claim.
In the middle of that.
Don't worry, we're going to talk about him. He's next.
So,
yeah, I think there should be more transparency because I think we had this conversation last Friday or at least on Tuesday of just like there's 2 injuries in the NHL, upper body, lower body,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
and you can pick it out from there. People like to say like, oh well, if you let the other team know, they probably already know. 9 times out of 10, it's
if
pretty
you
obvious.
watched Ryan Reeves hit Darnell Nurse, you got a pretty good idea it's an upper body injury, where that upper body part is.
And I guess I won't go any further. I'll save it for the Ask the Idiots, not to spoil
Ask the Idiots who does ask. So just to prepare ahead, just transparency on injuries for Ask the Idiots. Victor Arvidsson not playing tomorrow against New York. Zach Hyman expected to be out tomorrow. Darnell Nurse may or may not play tomorrow.
Let's play it safe.
That's where I'm at too. Like they've got no games until next Friday against Utah. Just give them the break.
Yeah. I think with head injuries, we can kind of all agree. But I mean, hey, listen, maybe
There goes Lee. He didn't even want to talk about it.
Liam can't stop coughing. Where maybe like, again, because we don't have info, maybe he's been cleared. Maybe there was a mild concussion, whatever. Liam's dying outside. Oh my God,
Well,
poor guy.
I've been telling him to stop smoking Camel Reds, you know?
But maybe he's
For
been
every
cleared
show.
for 4 days, right? And like keeping him out last game was the precautionary one. So in that case, maybe it's fine for him to play. But I will say they kind of miss old Daryl, which
So anybody who says they wouldn't, I hope you're happy because now we got Josh Brown.
and he stinks. But it is funny how, like, think back
Gross.
to this point last year when the Oil were struggling, right? And it was like, get rid of McLeod, get rid of Fogle, get rid of Cece, and now get rid of Nurse, get rid of Skinner. Why did they get rid of McLeod and Fogle and Cece? And it's like, you can't just always be doing the ship them out of town thing. Like sometimes patience is a good thing. And with Darnell, we're seeing how much, again, 9.25, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. He's a good top 4 defenseman and they don't have a lot of them.
And I don't know about you guys, but I very much miss him on the ice.
Yeah.
Like Josh Brown, I know you're giving it your damnedest. And I appreciate the fight you got in against the Ottawa Senators. Go watch that at hockeyfights.com. However, like, it's just not good enough.
We went into this season knowing that there was gaping holes on that defense, and then you go and add another one with the guy that we penciled in there as an everyday defenseman. It's just, of course, it's going to be disastrous, and it has been disastrous, like Liam's coughing fit that continues.
This is like mildly concerning. Is Waz out there, Lee?
Yeah. Waz out there.
Someone can
He
supervise.
put
and
his
make sure
headphones
he-
on, actually.
Yeah, Waz just put his headphones in to check out, again, Marlboro Reds and Camel Reds. He is just like the hardest cigarettes that Liam can get his hands on. That's what he's smoking right
And he
now.
won't let us record until he gets done the entire dart.
Mhm.
Terrible idea.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the injuries are all of a sudden very real for an Oilers team that is struggling to score goals even before this. Not ideal.
New. On paper, this team should score a lot.
They should.
They have 20 goal scorers all over this lineup. I don't think this is a roster construction thing. This is a guys got to get their shit together thing.
That's exactly what it is. And like, nobody wants to hear that when they're struggling. But I think even, and I'm paraphrasing Bob Stauffer last night during the intermission, he goes, they've got 4 guys shooting under 5% right now. There will come a time when those 20 to 30 goal scorers, it's going to turn.
Yeah.
But you don't want to hear that. And I understand why. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. The other thing that happened this week, to talking about the forward group, the Oilers claimed Kasperi Kapanen from the St. Louis Blues. Ha! Got him. We were laying in the weeds, Tyler, and it took a couple of months, but we got him. Stole one back.
They regret everything now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I actually thought it was very unfair to Kasperi Kapanen that he got thrown in the top 6 last night on his first day as an Oiler.
Drew
Essentially.
2 penalties.
He did draw 2 penalties. So I'm just kind of curious. Lehman, you okay? You all right? Do we need a third drink?
That was crazy.
Yeah. Marlboro
Very
Reds.
violent.
I wish you would quit smoking those Marlboro Reds.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what that was.
We know.
I just felt I had something right tickling my throat and I could not kick it. I'm good.
Got to keep your
Did you
finger
smoke?
out of there.
Are you smoking yet?
You're going to make you smoke the whole pack next time.
Quit smoking yesterday. I should be fine.
I just want to talk about everybody's first impressions of Kasperi Kapanen. Last night, 12-10 in TOI, 1 shot on goal, 4 hits. He's quick. You can tell he's quick. He's a quick skater.
He's fast. That's kind of my read on him. He's fast.
I think that ultimately when the decision comes that Derek Ryan should be replaced, Kasperi Kapanen is actually a pretty solid fit on that wing on the 4th line.
How nice of a 4th line if you flip Kapanen to the left side. Kapanen, Phil, Perry.
That's what I'm talking
A
about.
couple of burners and then the old guy to go to the net. I like that.
Because that old boy, all of a sudden, he's got 4 goals on the season and he's looking like a pretty solid depth piece all of a sudden.
Do you remember when Philp and Kajula both came up and played with Perry that one game?
Yeah, they were great. Against
Was
Nashville.
that
Nashville, yeah, and they scored
played
like
really well.
Yep.
2 or 3 good shifts. I don't need much more out of a fourth line.
So if we're talking about adding speed and like everybody talks about the Oilers being old, get rid of Ryan and Perry. Well, no, I'm not getting rid of Perry. He's actually playing good hockey, but like that brings it down.
Yep.
We want to talk about speed. Kasperi Kapanen, he's got plenty of it. You could see it on display a little bit last night. Like Tyler said, Derek Ryan out, Kapanen in, Perry in, Philp in. All of a sudden, that's a much quicker fourth line.
I don't know what Noah Philp did to deserve getting taken out of the lineup.
Nothing.
I heard that he's struggled in Bakersfield.
No,
on
he's
his return.
He did, but he started to get better.
Oh, okay.
He had like no points in like 3 games, but now he's
Got it.
back on the rails.
But
Maybe
I don't know.
just make more time.
The answer is like, I get it. Derek Ryan's a veteran and he's been a fine Oiler. But some of the issues that they're having, they have internal options who can step in there, don't they?
I think so. I mean, also, hey, if you're trying to add a scoring punch to things, like bring up Matt Savoy at some point. I know it's probably 2 months earlier than you think you'd want to, but I don't know.
I still maintain my bet. Remember my bet? Matt Savoy will be with the Oilers down the stretch after the trade deadline, and I think he's going to be productive.
All right.
You want to talk about a little speed, little hands, little scoring ability, or playmaking ability with Matt Savoy? I think he's coming. I think he'll earn his way. What do you think about that, Tyler?
I like it, man. I'm a fan of youth, and it's something this team has kind of...
I thought you were going to say you're a fan of me.
That too, but this team's kind of neglected that for a while. And I think, again, the idea of like, well, no, you can trust veterans. They don't make mistakes. The vets are making mistakes and screwing up right now. Yeah. So at least put in the young kids who have some upside.
And the Oilers are just like, they're as a franchise, they don't do that.
Yeah.
Put the kids in a spot where they actually are suited and just let them go. I mean, we tried that in the Taylor Hall era. There was no veterans then. Or, it was Ben Eager and Darcy Hordichuk. No offense to those guys.
Cannot forget Hordichuk. A question I had, it just occurred to me. Did anybody predict that Drake Kajula would have a fight this season when we did that?
Oh, yeah.
Do we count that? Did that get counted as a major?
Yes, it did.
Wow. Also,
Slipped a punch, though.
Kaprizov goes down like he is shot, crawls on his knees on the bench. And then because I like to be a good teammate, I texted Frank and I was like, Frank, by the way, Kaprizov down the tunnel right now. Like you might want to keep an eye on it. And then like by the time Frank responded to me, Kaprizov was back out on the ice. I was like,
he missed one shift.
Yeah.
It was an overreaction.
Much ado about nothing.
Yep.
I didn't think it was anything.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was when I saw the reverse angle. I'm just like, oh, Charlie horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand why he maybe went off and all that stuff. And I saw Wild fans tweet about it, and they were saying suspension incoming. I couldn't believe it.
There wasn't even a penalty.
No, there was no penalty.
Kaprizov needs to put himself in a better spot.
He got hit in the chest, and there was coincidental contact with the knee.
It's just an awkward looking hit from Kajula's perspective because he had to stop and readjust.
He button hooked.
But to his credit, his readjustment was all hit, all in the chest. And there was no, yes, their legs came together, but that's just an unfortunate.
But and listen, to be fair to Wild fans, if that was McDavid and not Kaprizov, I'd be doing the same thing. So I get it. But it was an unfortunate result to a
Hines lost it on the bench.
Yeah, he sure did.
And on the first thought, I could get it, but once you see a replay, I don't know. It feels pretty straightforward.
Yep.
I don't know.
Anyway, old Drake slipped a punch pretty good though.
Yeah, that was.
He fought in the American League this year.
Drake?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Drake Kajula actually has one of my favorite Oilers fights ever. He beat the hell out of Andrew Cogliano in Game 6 of the 2017 playoffs against the Ducks.
I love Kajula.
So anyway, Matt Boldy really swung from the shoelaces on that one, and he did not connect.
He's lucky that Middleton didn't actually grab him.
He knew, didn't
yes.
he? Yeah. I saw that too, and I'm even Middleton, to his credit, knew what wasn't going to happen. I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, it was fine though. Although it did count as a major first loss for the Oilers when there's a fight.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That is the end of an era.
Nice one, Drake.
Picked his spot.
Could have just
for
grabbed him, a little roughing penalty.
Yep.
Didn't have to accept.
I thought they were supposed to give a pen. Was that not an instigator for Minnie? Or was Drake willing enough?
I think if Middleton had grabbed him, it would have been an instigator. But because they had a little bit of a conversation, you could see on the replay, there was enough there to.
Also, it took them 8 minutes to sort that out. It was the weirdest pause in a game.
I know. What were they doing?
I don't know.
That's why I tweeted. I was like, what is this review for?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess they were trying to see if he did a knee on
But like, you can't review a non-call.
You're not supposed to.
You think the NHL just plays by their own rules? Come on.
Yeah, it's weird.
Who knows what the rules are?
It's even like that goal for offside. The Oilers, I don't think, challenged that, did they?
Yeah, they did.
They did, yeah.
Because on the broadcast, they didn't make it seem like they did.
No, Knobloch. I saw Knobloch point and it was like, yeah, go.
Interesting.
That one to me, like, it was razor thin. I don't know how the goalie coach sees that as quickly as they do. Cause like when I just saw the real time replay of it, I'm like, I don't think I know what offside is anymore.
Well, and Henrique and Ekholm both pointed immediately out to the blue line saying offside, which was crazy.
That was also part of the frustration to me that in the first 2-3 minutes of the game, the Oilers got 2 massive breaks and could not capitalize on it.
Yeah.
That the goal on Fleury, obviously, which we'll see for 100 years now on blooper reels. And then they had the disallowed goal. Like, they did not capitalize on 2 quick breaks in last night's game. Very annoying. Yep. Want to pivot a little bit here to the rumor mill is out around the Oilers. We talked about the John Gibson one. Tyler, no likey. If you want to hear a rant on it, go listen to the replay of Oilers Nation every day. It was funny. I could hear it from the other side of the office. Number 2. Bob Stauffer. He's being a rascal. He's teasing us, Tyler. On the broadcast the other day during the Senators game, he talked about how the Oilers are probably looking at a defenseman. I'm paraphrasing now. Probably looking at a defenseman no one is talking about. Could be a left-hand shot that plays the right side. So we've talked about a guy like Ivan Provorov, who's a left shot who plays the right side, but people are talking about him. So now my brain goes back to when Taylor Hall got traded. I was listening to Oilers Now in the days leading up to it, like a lot of us were trying to figure out some information, and Bob kept talking about it's going to be a defenseman no one's talking about. It's going to be, in my head, I'm like, we're getting Pietrangelo. It was not Pietrangelo.
That would have been awesome.
What are your vibes on this trade rumor coming out about an Oilers going for a defenseman? To add to it, Elliot Friedman said on 32 Thoughts, he believes that the Oilers are looking at David Jiricek, Ivan Provorov, and Marcus Pettersson. He did say that on Columbus, Provorov is the one who they are singling out as a potential option.
For me, unless they know something about Evander Kane, it just makes too much sense for them to wait till the deadline, right? Like, you have to wait for your cap space to accrue. Because if you do something now and you're operating in LTIR, then by the time Kane comes back, you're going to have to trade someone. And I don't know who exactly you end up trading off this roster that makes significant enough money for you to have acquired a defenseman with that money, if that makes any sense. So I think they need to be patient. I think this is something that has to wait until late February, early March when the deadline comes. So I don't know. I do, like, they're obviously looking. Every team's always looking. They're scouting. They're doing their thing. I just don't know if a trade's imminent. I do agree with Bob's idea, though, of, go get someone who's maybe a lefty who can play the right side, someone who's versatile. I like all that. I just don't think we should be sitting here holding our breath for a trade. I don't see how it would make sense.
But then at the same point, like, Bob's being aggressive with this one.
I don't even know what to think about it. Because I don't know who the defenseman would be who nobody's talking about.
Is it Michael Matheson in
But
Montreal?
everyone's talking about him now.
Yeah, like he's on
list.
Frank's trade targets list over at Daily Faceoff.
But is that not the exact player that they're talking about here? Like a middle ground guy, not offensive, not defensive.
Bob's also talking with term. Like,
but he is offensive. Available. It's 64 points last year.
Yeah, with a bad Montreal
So
team.
One guy who's interesting is Brandon Carlo in Boston. Boston has spent a ton of money on their blue line. If they wanted to move out some money there because they have their eyes on a forward, could they be willing to move on from a 27-year-old Brandon Carlo? So he does come with some trade protection, 10-team no trade list. I believe he's American as well. 2 more years at $4.1 million, right shot D-man. That was the guy who I gave as my answer in the mailbag. But like, other than that, the teams that are selling are like pretty obvious right now. So I don't know.
The one that I put as we did a round table that I don't know when that's going up at Oilersnation.com.
Right now, 2 p.m.
It's up. All right. I put in, and I know he's not left-handed, But my guy that nobody's really talking about with the Oilers is down the highway, and Rasmus Andersson. I don't know if there's a way to free him out, but man, what a trade that would be. Because when Bob was talking about it on the broadcast, he goes, think of a player who's got some, like, think of an Ekholm type player that is a quality piece that no one's tying to Edmonton. So I'm going all over the map. I'm getting in the weeds. And with 1 year left on his deal after this one, kind of satisfies a lot of what Bob's talking about outside of being left-handed. Probably a better fit. Would Calgary trade him to Edmonton? Probably not, but a boy can dream, can't he, Liam? A boy can dream.
May as well.
What about someone out on Long Island? They aren't.
Noah Dobson?
Oh, I would love that. They aren't left-handed. They're all righties for the most part, unless it's like Adam Pelech. But like Scott Mayfield just signed a big long extension, full no movement clause. So again, like you're dealing with that side of things. Adam Pelech is a lefty, 30 years old, has 4 more years on his deal, maybe 5. Like these guys come with a boatload of term. Maybe, I don't know.
Did Bob specifically said left shot that plays the right side?
He did.
Interesting.
He even tweeted it. No, and that's why like the spidey senses are tingling, because he said it on the broadcast. I know he said it on Oilers Now, and he also tweeted about it just like randomly. He doesn't do that.
6.
Nope.
I know. I'm looking at some teams.
If you're a disciple at the Church of Bob, which I am, something to think about. But to Tyler's point, though, like, how do you make the cap work? I have no idea. I'm not smart enough, but not my job.
Maybe someone goes back.
It would have to.
But everybody has a no trade clause on their others.
Well, that's another thing that people like. You hate player X for reason Y, Z, whatever. Chances are they have a no move clause and they're not going anywhere.
Jeff Skinner. Everyone's like, do you dump Jeff Skinner? I had someone comment on DFO Live the other day, and they were like, don't understand why the Oilers don't package up Derek Ryan, Josh Brown, and Jeff Skinner and go get a good defenseman. The fuck you think you're getting? Like, also, Jeff Skinner, full no movement clause.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, full no move clause.
Do you know who doesn't? Victor Albertson doesn't have a full no move clause. He has no protection.
I doubt you're pulling the pin on that experiment that early.
I mean, I doubt it too, but he is literally like the only forward outside of Adam Henrique that makes any money that has no protection.
And Adam Henrique's probably not on my list of people who I'd want to move.
He's also 34, so I don't know
need the centerman.
Want him. You know?
Would you trade your first round pick next year and Arvidsson for Brandon Carlo? I doubt Boston even does that, actually, because they probably want a centerman.
But who knows what's going on in Boston? They just fired a coach with one of the best win percentages ever because Jeremy Swayman can't stop anything right now.
Maybe that's another reason why Boston wouldn't be a trade partner, because they need help in front of Swayman.
Possibly.
Yeah. And maybe it's a world where Boston's sitting there being like, again, I'm making this Carlo stuff was Tyler Mulick said it in our YouTube chat, and I've just kind of latched onto it because I love the player. But like, yeah, maybe it's something where you go to Boston and you're like, okay, here's a first, here's a second, give us Carlo, and Boston just has their backdoor deal ready to go to Columbus and get Sean Monahan or whatever the deal is to get themselves a centerman, right?
Perhaps.
According to Pierre LeBrun, just talking about the rumor mill, Oilers not currently worried about their goaltending as it stands right now. By all accounts, according to LeBrun, they would be more concerned about making an addition on defense, which nothing new there for anybody, but just interesting to hear. I just like rumors. That's it.
That just lines up with everything we've been kind of saying on this pod.
Yep.
You know stuff.
Well, that or they listen to us.
One of the
I
two.
imagine they do. If they're not, it's a great podcast. Go over to the Oilers Nation YouTube channel, subscribe. Thank you. The other interesting thing I want to talk about just before we get to Ask the Idiots here is, even though the Oilers have had a very mediocre start to the season through this first 21 games, they are still only 1 point back of LA. They are 3 back of Calgary and 4 back of Vegas. Like, as mediocre as they've been, they're right in the mix.
Well,
They're right in the fight.
Like, again, we'd ride the roller coaster hard around these parts.
Amen.
I get it. This start to the season has not been disastrous. People are making it out to seem like it's disastrous. It's been a roller coaster. And, you know, like today we had the conversation with Cam, and I agreed with him on the show where it was like, look at the teams they've beaten. Have they beaten a playoff team yet? And it's like, hey, they beat Calgary, technically a playoff team. Vancouver's a playoff team, but they've beaten Nashville 3 times and all of that. And I also get that. But as I thought about it more, I was like, well, if it was flipped, if they'd beaten a bunch of good teams and had lost to all of the bad teams, we'd be sitting here just as pissed. They can't beat the bad teams. This team can't focus. They're lacking something. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, again, you can be pessimistic however you want. It's so early. Like, they're right on knocking on the door of a playoff spot. They don't need a 10-game winning streak to get out of this.
No. I mean, it'd be nice. I'll take one. I'll take a PDO heater any day of the week. But again, it is interesting. Just a little bit of context.
I think it's perspective too. I think, you guys keep talking about how the goaltending numbers are down across the league. I bet you every fan base is like, we need more saves.
Rangers fans, I talked to Johnny Lazarus. They have a 650 some points percentage, and they think the season's a disaster. Their fans are saying we're a first round exit at best.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
we're all in the weeds, aren't we?
It's perspective.
I love it.
Except for Winnipeg. Winnipeg is flying high.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves.
What's amazing is that nobody cares. They're having a great start of the season and nobody gives a shit.
That is true.
Also, how often do we hear you got to be peaking at the right time? It's all about building and peaking at the right time. So again, Oilers fans have said that for years, and now we're worried because we're not peaking in November. Huh?
I just find it funny.
Jets fans are worried that they're not going to show up when it matters in the playoffs,
which they probably won't.
This is also true.
So in the last 10 games in the
please.
Pacific Division, Vegas is 5-4-1. Calgary is 6-2-2. LA and Edmonton are both 5-4-1. Vancouver is 5-5. Seattle is 5-5. Anaheim is 5-4-1. And San Jose is 3-4-3.
We got a lot of people just kind of spinning their wheels here in the Pacific Division.
Very much.
So I guess the lesson
That's
here
crazy.
is we're not alone. Like Dan said, everybody else is spazzing too.
We're all in this together.
Right.
To quote Troy Bolton, Gabriella Martez. I don't remember her name.
I don't think you can look at the two older guys on the pod and expect them to get your High School Musical reference.
I did not.
What was her name?
I didn't know what you were talking about.
I don't know.
Slipping my mind.
Zach Efron
Shares my birthday.
looks like a ventriloquist dummy
Yeah,
these
something
days.
happened to that guy.
Yep.
It's a shame.
Was very
What's
handsome.
her name?
Something happened to him?
Lehman's gonna.
Yeah.
His jaw broke or something, and
Yeah,
then now
he broke his jaw and had to get like some surgery and it's all messed up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
He
his
looks like a
looks went away.
ventriloquist dummy now.
His looks
Yeah.
went away.
Yeah.
That's
Still shredded though.
Gabriella Montez.
Glad you got to the bottom of that, big guy.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it.
Oh, it's perfect time to transition to Ask the Idiots. Again, the holiday sweater, the Christmas sweaters up at nationgear.ca. Promo code BAGMILK10 gets you 10% off, or promo code
Tyler 10.
also gets you 10% off. Go get yourself a sweater. You're going to look very handsome and beautiful in it. I promise you that. 4 questions for Ask the Idiots today, fellas. 4 questions. This first one comes in from Ben. I'm starting right in the middle with Lehman as he's Googling High School Musical actors and actresses. Are the Oilers not playing their game consistently, or is this their game?
No, I just think it's not consistent. I don't think this is a game. They got too many good players not playing well.
Tyler?
Yeah, I'm the same. They got too many good players not playing to the best of their capabilities. And I think this team has a lot more to give. This is not a bad hockey team. This is a good hockey team playing bad.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year was less talented and less skilled than the squad that we have overall this year. So yeah, I still expect more out of them and haven't seen last year's kind of skill level yet. So more.
I'm getting distracted by Waz pacing the office again. That's right. I'm looking at you. You're pacing the office again and you're distracting me. There he is, poking his head in.
There's no
Thumbs up
microphone
from
for you to commandeer, boss. Sorry.
I just think they're a good team not playing very good hockey. I think a lot of it stems from confidence. And I think that when you start gripping the stick, you need some things to go right. More than every now and then, you need a couple of things to happen in succession. Start feeling good about yourself. Team's going to start scoring. All of a sudden, we are not talking about a lot of these issues any further, in my opinion. Now, boys, it's the time to talk about injuries. Get your takes from the segment before ready. Tyler, starting with you. Does the NHL need to be more transparent with injuries? Victor Arvidsson has been day to day for over a week now, and we have no idea what's going on.
No, I don't know. as much as I would like to see a bit more transparency, I think the idea that it happens in other sports isn't really that true. Like the NFL has an injury list that you have to submit, and teams are always doing weird shit on that. It's just teams are never going to be honest with it. And again, I understand being like, oh, the betting, people bet on it. I mean, you can use it to your advantage as well. If it's a disadvantage, there's a chance it could be an advantage for you if you're betting. So now I'm fine with it. It's whatever.
Liam, do we need more transparency with the injuries?
I would like him to be a bit more transparent.
I would too.
Especially on like timelines and things like that. Like the NFL does kind of mess with it a little bit, but I think it's way more accurate than false. So yeah, I think they need to be more transparent on it. But it's obviously a little bit different too, because the NFL plays once a week and the NHL is every night.
The thing I was going to say about the NFL though, as I've noticed, is they have interesting kind of updates, like full participant in practice. And like that means one thing and questionable means a different thing. And then just full on out is like out.
Yeah. We do also get that a bit in hockey though, because the one thing that they weirdly will do in the NHL is the contact, non-contact sweaters, right? So like when a guy's coming back, like Darnell Nurse skated the other day in a contact sweater. Mm-hmm. So like that's sort of a little bit of an update that you do get. We just don't get specifics. I guess timelines, like an honest timeline would be nice, but yeah, I don't know.
Dan, what do you think?
I am still on the betting side of things, where if the NHL and hockey wants to be able to build kind of an industry out of its own, existence, I do think that you need transparency, you need information, and you need the fans to be able to access that at any time. I
do think too, like right now, it just seems like it's kind of an Oilers problem because they just announced that Ovechkin's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a fibula.
4 to 6.
4 to 6, sorry. But like either way, like we know.
Yep. Which is a bummer, by the way, for Ovi, because he's on fire.
But to the Oilers' credit, we knew Nurse was 5 to 10 days. We know Hyman's 4 to 7.
But we also thought McDavid was out for 3 weeks and he missed 3 games.
And thought Arvidsson was day to day and he's now on the IR.
And then Knobloch will be like, well, if this was a playoff game, he's playing.
Yeah.
So
the McDavid thing was McDavid being a freak, though, right? Like what if Ovi comes back in 3 weeks?
Awesome.
Right? But that's what I mean.
Russian machine never breaks, they say. No? All right. I would like some more transparency. I don't think I'm going to get it. Just answer the question. Next one. Reversing the order. Dan, you're up first. How are you dealing with the first dump of the snow, or first snow dump of the season, I should say?
I'm doing okay. My neighbor had eye surgery, so I've got 2 houses to shovel right now. But yeah, not too bad. Not looking forward to tomorrow though, and almost 25 centimeters apparently.
All right.
Liam, fresh homeowner yourself. How are you dealing with this first dump?
Yeah, so I haven't had to actually shovel a driveway in like 3 years because of where I've lived. It's just not been necessary. So that sucked yesterday, but everything's been fine.
A little workout though. It's nice.
It's not bad. I just warmed up my car and shoveled the driveway.
Tyler?
Yeah, I don't mind shoveling, honestly. It's not that bad to me. If you stay ahead of it, because the thing is, you don't want the ice to build up. You don't want to have to be chipping then, all that. Just stay ahead of it and it's not bad.
You know what I do? I got myself one of those old school brooms with the straw brooms. And after I shovel, I give my sidewalk a good like curl and sweep.
Yeah.
Get it real nice and clean.
That's a good idea.
I'm dealing with it fine. I don't mind snow. I don't like driving on the snow. Not me personally, just driving with other people on the snow is annoying. But I got to admit, I was very jealous the other day. My neighbor has a leaf blower and he just looked like he was having a good time blowing snow around. I don't have one. I got jealous.
See, I have a leaf blower and I'll use it like on the walk or like on my little front deck area. But like I see people doing the whole driveway with it. I think it's faster to just go shovel really quick.
I'd like
also
to take
helps
on that.
your arm strength.
Yeah, get a little workout in. Get the heart rate up.
Just not too high if you have heart problem.
That's right.
A lot of people die from shoveling too.
Yep. If you're a senior citizen, like get yourself a snowblower.
Sorry.
I couldn't even make a joke about it. It's probably true.
It
is true.
Unfortunately.
It is true. As someone with senior parents, I'm like, hey, let's get you a snowblower. You're paying for it though, but like, let's get you one. Tyler, you're up next. This is just such a stupid question. This comes in from Lance. What do you think a bad day for Santa looks like?
For Santa?
Yeah.
Oh God. What's a bad day for Santa? Probably something to do with the elves, right? Like elves are messing things up.
Yes, people management.
Yeah, people management, I think, is probably the worst part of Santa's job.
What do you think is a bad day for Santa, Liam?
Well, I mean, you can just look back through the history of Christmas movies. I think there's many options. And I'm just going to go straight to the movie Elf.
Go ahead.
Where the Christmas spirit is down. Santa can't get his sleigh off the ground.
That's a bad day.
So for me, that's got to be one of the worst days in Santa's history, the movie Elf.
Yep. Dan?
It's got to be the natural disasters, right?
Yeah.
When a natural disaster strikes in the North Pole.
Yeah,
that's true.
Got to navigate that.
What can he do? There's no resources around, no emergency services.
I like to imagine a world where Santa developed a lactose allergy. All of a sudden, every day is a bad day when he's got to go to Christmas. Nobody leaves him a fresh Nation beer out when they should, right?
Yeah,
it's always milk and cookies. And he goes, fucking milk and cookies. Trying to lose a couple of LBs and all you guys want to feed me is milk and cookies. I just imagine there's times on Christmas Day specifically where he goes, well, I guess I'm eating a bunch of calories today.
Tums.
Yep. Bring out the Tums. There you go. Ask the idiots. You can slide into my DMs. Go get yourself a holiday sweater over at nationgear.ca. You're going to enjoy it. And you're going to look very handsome at your party this year. I think you'll be probably the belle of the ball even. Nationgear.ca. Let's wrap up the podcast with hot and cold performers. And then I just want to really touch on, actually, you know what, before we do hot and cold performers, to wrap it up, just what did Johnny Lazarus say today on Oilers Nation Every Day about facing the Rangers tomorrow?
They give up a ton of chances, but their goalies bail them out. They gave up 40 shots to the Calgary Flames the other night. So I think it's kind of one of those, you'll have a chance to kind of establish your offense in this game. If you're the Oilers, you just got to be dangerous enough and be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunistic. There you go. Opportunistic enough to finish off your chances. So the Rangers will give you some looks. You got to take advantage.
Do you know Chris Kreider has 0 assists this season?
I thought Tyler was going to say at the same time too.
He's going for the Cy Young.
Also, yeah, before we get into that, I did have a Bet365 question for you.
Of course, let's talk a little betting.
For our friends at Bet365, use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm looking at the futures tabs. I locked in my Macklin Celebrini Rookie of the Year bet the other day. I'm a big believer in the Mac attack.
Will you be watching more San Jose games then?
No, probably not. But there's 3 futures bets that you can kind of involve the Oilers in a little bit.
Go ahead.
Leon Draisaitl is plus 375 to win the Rocket. Connor McDavid is plus 400 to win MVP. And McDavid is plus 290 to lead the league in scoring and win the Art Ross. If you had to pick one of those 3 to wager on, which one would you pick as the most likely?
McDavid. I never bet against Connor.
To win MVP or scoring race?
Scoring race.
Draisaitl.
You like Dry?
Yeah, because I think too, like obviously Ovechkin being out is going to be helpful to him.
Yeah.
And he's scoring goals from the other end of the rink.
And he is first in scoring right now.
Tied for the lead with Reinhart and Ovi.
I just like look at those guys in the race with him. And I just believe he can score more than them.
Fair. Good analysis.
I'm still going to pick Connor to win the Hart. I think that this team turns it around. Connor continues to lead this team the way he is. I think he wins the Hart.
I think I'm going to agree with Liam and do Draisaitl to win the Rocket Richard. He is the
I'd love it. I'd love to see him win that. He's got a great shot. And ultimately, if he sees himself winning that trophy and he gets a little bit more selfish, 1, I think that's good for the team.
Yep.
And 2, he can absolutely do it.
Plus 375 is the odds on favorite.
Another thing is too, he's not scoring goals on the power play right now. He only has 2 power play goals this season of his 15.
That should change.
I miss him being a power play merchant.
Those were the days.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you go. A little betting talk for our friends at Bet365. We appreciate you. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, whatever the sport, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. The code is NATION. 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 Hot and cold performers. Let's wrap up the podcast. This one is presented by Liam. Liam paid for this segment.
Wow.
Very, very generous.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You have the floor now, Liam. Tell us what you're sponsoring.
We're going to start it off with our cold performers. We're getting our veggies first. And because he did pay for the segment, Liam, you are up first.
My cold performer of the week. My girlfriend's mom has been away for the past 2 weeks.
No, this is cold performers.
Oh, I know. So she
Zingo.
let me borrow her car,
Oh, that's nice.
but tonight I have to let it go.
What kind of car is it?
It's a Lexus. It's
That is
awesome.
nice.
It's so good. My car's bad, so having that for the past couple of weeks has been awesome.
into Alexis?
Just anything. The bus, maybe.
2 feet in a heartbeat.
Just if anyone wants to pick me up from work to go to work, just let me know.
You're on Sherwood Park. You want to do a little commuting with Liam?
Yeah.
Swing by Sherwood Ford, grab a Sherbucks on your way in. Everybody's having a good time.
I wonder if you could just walk in there one day and just grab a Sherbucks and walk out.
Who's going to stop you?
They wouldn't question you.
I honestly don't think they would.
Who's going to stop you? I'll just say I'm there to see David. Straight to the coffee machine.
Big Mike.
Get a nice latte. Nation Dan, you're up. Cold performer of the week.
My cold performer of the week is going to go to my dog who had its anal glands expressed right before the Senators game. And it was just the most unpleasant watching of a game I've ever had because he still stank afterwards. So my dog getting the cold performer of the week for ruining my Tuesday night.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Dogs are gross, people. They're not all cuddles.
Not the way I thought this was.
You wanted a cold performer, I gave it to you, okay?
Sometimes dogs are gross. Sometimes. Tyler, cold performer of the week.
The MLB off season, as much as sometimes the NHL off season's annoying, and you know how we have that weird period where like no one's tampering, but everyone's kind of tampering.
Of course.
At least on July 1, shit happens and it gets done. And then it's like, all right, the GMs go to the cottage. We all get to chill. The MLB off season, free agents have been eligible to sign for, I feel like 2-3 weeks now, and just no one's signing. Guys are just chilling, just hanging out.
Where Juan Soto going?
But we haven't had to track any flights.
We've not had to track any flights.
I miss tracking flights.
It's coming.
Fun day.
That season is coming.
But MLB off season, pick up the pace. You're my cold performer.
Oh, that's cold.
I am going to say, I'm going to stick with the Oilers for my cold performer of the week for Liam's segment. I'm going to say all of the injuries that have arisen on a struggling Oilers team that had already been battling the ability to score goals. This does not help. I promise you that. So the injury bug, I dislike you.
That's a joke. That's an absolute joke is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Wrap up the podcast with a little bit of good news. Tyler, you're up first. For Liam's segment, your hot performer of the week.
I'm going to say the Department of Player Safety for doing their little bit of run of PR. George Peros went on Coast to Coast. They put out a really good video explaining some of the differences in different headshots. And I think if you want people to stop criticizing you, if you're the DOPS, then you need to do more like this, like what Brendan Shanahan used to do. People like having it explained and understanding. So I'm going to give it to the Department of Player Safety for going the extra mile.
Pour it on!
Liam, you're up next. Your own hot performer of the week.
You guys know me. I like watching a movie or two. Well,
For
one
multiple
movie
settings.
because it takes me a week.
That's right.
And I recently rewatched the movie The Holiday with Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, Jack Black, and I can't remember the other girl's name. It's escaping me. Awesome movie. Just finished it last night. It took me 3 sit-ins. So
3 30-minute intervals, essentially.
yeah, it's a 2 hour and 10-minute movie.
40-minute intervals.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's,
You seen that one?
I have not.
I have seen that one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good holiday one.
Yeah.
Jude Law told everybody yesterday that climate change is real. So shout out Jude Law.
Good timing.
There you go.
Dan, you're up next.
I'm also going to do the exact
The
same thing you
holiday.
did, Tyler. Yeah, the holiday. No, I'm going to say the same thing as Tyler. That video specifically, though, about Rule 48 and the illegal checks to the head. I love the idea of the league seeing that there's some confusion built up around the fan base and they're getting mad and they identified it and then they took it and listed out all the examples for the fans. And then it just basically made it so that you're no longer mad at the league. You're no longer mad at the Department of Player Safety. You're mad at that rule. And that's the way it should be. And we should be talking about the rules and talking about the different things instead of just having everybody be angry all the time. So yeah, the Department of Player Safety and your Rule 48 video gets my hot performer of the week.
He's a hot guy!
My hot performer of the week is when I woke up today and I looked at my phone. There was a fresh Kendrick Lamar album on there waiting for me, and I didn't know it was coming. And its first listen has been pretty good so far. Tyler, there's a couple of bangers on that baby. So I'm going to say I love me some fresh hip hop. So that's what's getting my hot performer of the week.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
I have my evening laid out. I'm calling the Golden Bears game tonight. Teddy Bear Toss Night if anyone wants to come down to the old Claire Drake Arena. Then when I get home, I'm going to dabble a little bit, maybe be a little 10 milligram Tyler. And I'm going to listen to the Kendrick album. I'm very excited.
It's good. It's very
What do you
very
mean when you say dabble?
10 milligram Tyler. I'm
Yeah,
going
10
to
milligram Tyler,
ingest
fine.
marijuana.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
It's,
Trying to cut down on the drinking, and that's my new health thing to do.
we all need vices.
Yep.
You know, I'm trying to eat less chips, so I just really started smoking a lot more cigarettes.
Liam?
Well, you're probably cutting down on the chips.
Am I right, Liam?
Yeah.
Liam?
All right, real quick. I don't have the music on here, I don't think.
No, we
Figs.
don't. I keep forgetting.
Score prediction for tomorrow against the Rangers. I'm going to say 8-1 Oilers. Tyler.
4-3 in overtime.
Liam.
4-3, one
Nation
way
Dan.
or the other.
3-1 win for the Rangers.
Womp womp. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.